Y'all niggas gonna learn one day, man. This life shit is not a fucking joke, bruh. I had to learn my way, nigga, the hard way, nigga. And you gonna learn one day, nigga, your way, nigga. Bottom line, that's just how shit is, nigga. If I could go back, I do a lot of shit differently. But who cares, cause that's the past and it's history. My nigga called me yesterday and said he went to court. The judge gave him 12 years up the fucking road. That's why you gotta watch your ass when you run the streets. Cause niggas telling left or right, proud with no sleep. See, y'all done had my time of trouble, some and bad days. We all have, but in the end, we gotta turn the page. I keep it real with my nigga, dog, you slacking up. Or right or wrong, my nigga know that I'ma back 'em up. You win some, you lose some. Fuck having cold feet. If you's a hustler, then hustle, nigga, no sleep. I'm proud of all my island girls going off to college, and proud of all my island niggas using street knowledge. But as for me, I'm doing straight. I know I never change, and that ain't good, cause I need to, but fuck it, man. One life to live, what you gon' do? Just keep on playing around, or you gon' live it to the fullest till you hit the ground. You all depressed, down bad, I ain't fucking with you. Catch me and Audis in the party, body full of liquor. That's how I'm rockin', nigga. Bottom line, ain't quick to get off in your shit if you're out of line. Nobody's perfect, it don't make no sense to even try. I know I ain't, so if I told you, then I fucking lied. Shit, yeah, nigga, and that's just how shit go, nigga. Bunch of y'all niggas need to tighten the fuck up, nigga, for real.